Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. I'm so happy to welcome you all to our first master class. It's a VIP master class, the first one of 2026. Today with our president, Mauricio Sulaimán, and our president of the Ring Official Committee, Duane. It's a luxury, this class, and two of the best judges from the Ring Official Committee. David, welcome. Chris, welcome, and welcome everybody.
Thank you.
We're just gonna follow our protocol, and the first part is to introduce to you our Director of Engagement, Christian Mansour, who always has a very special message and reflection for us. Christian, welcome, please. The microphone is yours.
Thank you, Xochitl. Hello, everyone. It's very nice to see you again after a successful convention and starting a new year. And every new year brings us to think that there is importance in nurturing ourselves through these different aspects. So one is physical. We have to do some workout. The other one is emotionally. Either you meditate or you pray, whatever it is that you do, it's very important to nurture ourselves emotionally. And spiritually, of course. But the most important to me now that we are here is mentally. And mentally is not only about mental health or the other topics that we have been through, but education. We have to be prepared. We have to prepare ourselves every single day, because education is the key that opens many doors. So here we are to listen to the expert Duane. It's very nice to see you again. And there's a microphone. Okay, anyway, we're here to listen to you and learn as much as we can. Happy New Year and nice to see you all again.
Thank you.
Xochitl,
you're muted.
Okay, well, I agree 100%. We will have some excellent news very soon from the education part. Mauricio, all yours for you and Duane. Please, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Xochitl. Thank you, Christian. Happy New Year to everyone. I'm thrilled to see so many friendly faces from all over the world, from Germany, England, Chicago, Detroit, South America, Australia, Mexico, several states of the United States, Canada. The year ended up with a sensational convention that we did in Thailand. I am very thankful to the Ring Officials Committee who performed sensational seminars and certification under the leadership of Duane. And the activity in boxing was tremendous. We had a huge year, 800 fights combined with the WBC affiliated championships. We had almost 90 fights between men and women, world title. So it has been a ever-growing momentum that we are experiencing in boxing. And for boxing, the key will always be, after safety for the fighters, will be officiating. As we have always said, and we need to repeat, the life of the boxers is in the hands of the referees. The justice is in the hands of the judges. We have seen many fighters who retire after a bad decision. They fall in depression and their career changes. I would like to take the opportunity to congratulate Mark Lyson. He was the referee of the heavyweight fight in Germany. Whoever saw the fight, it was broadcasted in the zone. So we had one fight which was very well stopped by Daniel Van de Wiel. I don't know if Daniel is in this meeting or not, but he made the headlines, falling off, tripping and falling to the ground. But he had stopped the fight, and unfortunately he fell. When he got up, The fighter seemed to be in a better position to continue, but he had already stopped the fight. The mechanics were correct. I would like to propose we review that round in a future talks or training session. I spoke to Daniel. I hope he would be here, but I told him he needs to get in shape. A referee for a world title fight cannot look like me with that belly. So I did it personally, and I'm doing it publicly. For all of you who are referees, you will not be considered to officiate WBC fights if you are not 100% in shape. And that shape is physically and mentally. As I was saying, Mark Lyson, that card, we had Daniel Van de Wiel's stoppage. Then there was a heavyweight fight for another organization. I believe it was an IBF fight, which was dramatically wrongly performed by the referee. The way that local fighter sustained unnecessary blows was dramatic. The referee allowed that fight to continue, trying to give the local fighter opportunities, and he could have been very badly hurt. And then came our WBC championship fight with a perfect stoppage by Mark Lyson. So it was a sandwich. Whoever wants to see perfection in officiating, watch that card, and you will see Daniel Van de Wiel and Mark Lyson perfectly executing the duties and mechanics as a referee with the safety in hand. And then you will see another referee who had a very bad outing and should not be officiating top-level fights. That was very dangerous. Regarding judges, we had those 3 fights, world title fights, and the key is to understand that judges do not score fights. Judges score rounds. That's it. What happens in that round is exactly what you record in your scorecard, and then you move on to a completely new set, completely new fight, completely new round. You cannot carry on. If a fighter was hurt at the end of one round, you cannot carry that on and have it in your mindset for your evaluation. It's a completely new round. And I am very happy the way that it was explained. We are moving aggressively into the enhanced scoring program. It was used at the Grand Prix with great success. We're going to start using it at some selected fights as a pilot program and to be the official scoring of a fight. And it is in your hands. You've been training for 5 years on the remote scoring, using the enhanced scoring program. So it's been the whole membership that has been testing it and providing very good results. So I would like to now move on, introduce Duane Ford, who will conduct the class with Chris and with David. And I'm sure it's going to be a sensational beginning for the masterclass of the WBC 2026. And I wish you a great, great year in a personal and professional, and of course, in your boxing life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mauricio.
President.
Thank you, Mauricio. It's always good having our president with us. Christiane, thank you for your positive thoughts on having ourselves physically and mentally and spiritually ready for 2026. I believe that as an official, you have to have that balance of physical, mental, and your spiritual life in order. Today, I want to briefly talk about all the seminars that are out there that people are attending. The WBC years ago was the first organization to start training for judges and referees. They were the original. What's happened recently, there's a lot of counterfeit seminars out there. There's seminars that people are charging horrendous fees for officials to come to. And not all of the information they're receiving is the approved criteria and information that you hear within the WBC or even within the ABC. I just want to let you know that be cautious on what seminars you're attending, because they could mislead you into doing something where if you received an assignment and you used that criteria of somebody's opinion, you could end up with a bad score and it could affect your career. Just follow what the WBC has asked of you, to be prepared and be ready for an assignment. Now, for the past number of years, we have worked on what we call close, moderate, decisive, extreme decisive. So Gilbert, if you could come with the first slide. I'm not sure it's going to allow me. Okay. What is a 10-9? Now, if all of you could speak, you could tell me that indicates who won the round. You know, when my daughter was a child and my son was a child, they could tell me who won the round, but they couldn't tell me how much the fighter won by. That's where the philosophy of it's not functioning here, Gilbert.
You need to tell him next.
Next. So a fighter comes out and he's lands some punches and he's winning the round. So he's winning closely. He then adds more punches and now he's winning moderately. He lands more punches and now he is winning in a decisive. So now he's really landing heavy punches with a lot of effect on him, and he's winning in the 10-9 extreme decisive. When you hit extreme decisive next, this would be where there is no knockdown in the round, but the fighter is winning in an extreme decisive situation, that it's a 10-8 round without a knockdown. So what we want, and in Thailand, what was taught was close, moderate, decisive, and extreme decisive. If you as a judge cannot define and tell us what close, moderate, decisive, extreme decisive is, you won't be able to score the fight properly. So we've told you close, moderate, decisive. We will now have David Sutherland tell you the definitions of those. David, next.
All right, thanks, Duane. Thanks, Mauricio. Just to kind of recap this real quick, what Duane had just said, you know, when you're going from close, moderate, decisive, and if eventually you get into extreme decisive, just remember that that flow goes backwards too. So always give credit to the opponent that's also landing going back. So, all right, so let's talk about the definition for close, the initial 10-9. When I think of a close round, a close round is something that distinguishes the professionals from the amateurs. Like Duane said, his kids might know who won the round, but you don't know by how much they won the round. And when you have a close round, that sometimes is a round that, most people are thinking, well, who won that round? Did it go to the red corner, the blue corner? And that's what distinguishes the professionals from the amateurs. And by definition, it's when one boxer has won the round by a narrow margin. That's the key word here, narrow margin. A victory over their opponent by utilizing the scoring criteria, and we can talk about that, in the order of the scoring the effective punches. And then if you go to the second criteria, it's the effective aggression. And then if you still can't determine the winner, it's the ring generalship or ring control. But just always remember that it's using the scoring criteria in that order. You should be able, 95% of the time, be able to use the scoring effective punches as your scoring criteria. But it's when you've won the round close is a narrow margin. And that's really what distinguishes that round. Next. But let's say that one fighter is doing considerably better and they've moved out of that close range and now they're moving into the moderate range. They're probably not seeing a whole lot of resistance coming back. This is when one boxer has won the round by a clear margin of victory over their opponent. And again, by using the scoring criteria. But to me, moderate, it's a clear margin. Nobody probably would think the other boxer won. So you've got the close where it could have been either way, depending upon a few punches. But once you've moved over to moderate, it's clear. I think probably 99% of the people know who won that round. When comparing scoring punches, the winner of the round was ahead by more than a few effective punches scored. And the winner of the round could not have changed without a significant impact. Really think about that significant impact. At times, the opponent's going to throw punches that land, and it's going to bring you back, working back towards that close. But that significant impact, it takes a lot to get somebody out of the moderate range back to the close. Next. So as that fight's continuing or that round's continuing on, if the one fighter has moved now from the moderate to the decisive, you're still in the 10-9 range, but it's when one boxer has won the round by a large margin. There's no doubt, 100%. Everybody knows that person has won. Their opponent is by utilizing the scoring criteria. It would be very hard for that other fighter to get that round back. When you get into the decisive round, you just know that everybody in there knows who won. And at that point, as a judge, I'm starting to think about how much farther this is going to go. Am I going to start working into the extreme decisive, or, is the opponent working his way back? You just got to know where you're at. And in each one of these categories, make sure you give yourself plenty of range in there. You could just barely be in the close. You could just be working out of the close into the moderate. Don't just jump, because you think a couple punches moved you. Work your way through it nice and slow. I always tell officials when they do the remote scoring, slow down, let it come to you. Just work your way through these ranges, whether it's close, moderate, or decisive. And when comparing scoring punches in a decisive round, the winner of the round convincingly won the round. Next. So what happens after that? I mean, the one fighter just keeps on scoring big, effective punches. Maybe they've really, hurt or dominated their opponent. That's when you could have been looking at the extreme decisive. Okay. The referee doesn't stop it yet. And the other fighter just keeps getting outscored. And when you get to that point, now you've got a 10-8. And that's when one boxer has won the round by a total domination and significantly outscored their opponent. I mean, the old saying back in the day when I got started was pillar to post. You know, if you see an opponent, and I know we've watched lots of videos, you see an opponent that, you know, they did everything but touch that canvas. They got knocked around the ring, they got knocked into the ropes, you know, they're just so tough. They're almost too tough for their own good. You know when you're there. Okay, just don't rush yourself to get there. But when you get too extreme decisive, you owe it to the fighter to give them that 10-8.
Thank you, David.
Yep.
We will now hear from Chris Migliore. Chris,
how you doing?
Hang on one second. Chris really handled everything at the convention for the officials committee. He and Joel Scobie for the referees. And I just wanted to give Chris a shout out. But Chris has got some fun here, and we might even, Chris, ask him to turn their mics on so that we can hear them shout back. But Chris, go ahead.
Sure. So I'm going to follow up on kind of David. Can everybody hear me? So I'm going to follow up on what David was saying, and I think it reiterates the idea that as judges and officials, we want to be speaking kind of a common language. We don't want to get off into street talk and things like that. We want to use the words that clearly define what David just talked about so that we all had a fundamental understanding of where we are in a round and how we got there and how we will explain ourselves. So can you go next, please? Okay, so when we talk about narrow margin, our word we're going to use is close, clear margin is moderate, large margin is decisive, and total is extreme decisive. And so when we look at these words, we have to be able to explain ourselves in the round to the margin, which is narrow, clear, large, and total. So we're going to do a nice little something we did in Thailand that I think is kind of fun. Mr. Ford gave me some praise, but this is kind of all his idea, and I think he was seeing if it'll work. So we're going to try it again on here. So we're going to unmute our microphones, and Gilbert's going to go to the next slide. So when I say close, you are going to yell narrow into your microphones. We want to hear you in your language and what it is. So Gilbert, we're going to go back. So I'll say the first word, and then the crowd is going to yell into it. So everybody's microphone, even you, Mr. President, why don't you jump in on this?
That's right. So go back one slide, Gilbert.
Go back one slide, please, Gilbert. And then we're going to come in. I'm going to say close.
Test. Narrow margin.
Narrow.
Close.
Narrow.
Narrow margin.
No, it hasn't
Narrow.
popped up yet.
Narrow margin.
Narrow.
Narrow margin.
Narrow.
Next slide,
Narrow.
Gilbert.
Narrow.
Narrow.
Clear.
Close margin.
Clear.
Clear.
Moderate.
Clear.
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 Next slide.
Clear.
Large.
Large.
El Grande.
Large.
Oh, ground.
Large.
Large.
Next slide,
Large.
please, Gilbert.
Large.
Total
Domination.
domination.
Total domination.
All right.
Total
next slide.
domination.
Thanks, Gilbert. Next slide, please.
That was funny.
Domination.
So again,
Domination.
so again,
Domination.
so again, we have some fun with it, but that is really how the community works, right? We're all kind of a family, and we're all. You guys can mute your microphones. Well, we're kind of moving on if you don't mind. But again, we are a community. We should be able to have fun with these things. But when I want to explain it to either a judge who's asking me my opinion, or I am asking another official their opinion, we want to use our words. What we use those words for is so that we can understand each other, so that we have a clear definition of where we are. And that is very important. So we want to stick to the words that we are using. I don't think I'm going to go back and put us through that because that was a lot of fun, but that's pretty much my social battery. So I'm going to pass it off to Duane. He's going to kind of go through some scorecards. I'm going to step off. It was great seeing everybody. And I hope to see everybody soon. Enjoy scoring fights, and WBC University, thank you so much. It's such a great resource. Did a great job in Thailand supporting us. So please, everybody, continue your work here, and I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Chris. David, would you jump in here and explain the scorecard?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not certain that the brand new scorecards are on this screen. So David, kind of explain to them if there's a knockdown and so forth.
Absolutely. So if you're looking, starting from the far left on the screen, you can look and you can see that close is highlighted green. So that would be the box you would mark if, whether it was the boxer on the left or the right, they won, you would put your score in, and then you would mark the box accordingly. The first box there says close, so they highlighted it close. If you were doing another round and you thought it was a moderate round, you would check the box moderate, as shown in the second picture. And so on, with the third picture, if it's a decisive round, you would highlight it then. But looking over at the far right box or the far right picture, if you get to the extreme decisive round, you would highlight the extreme, but what would be the score? 10-8, right? So you moved out of that 10-9 range. Once you got into extreme decisive, now you've got a 10-8 round without a knockdown.
So
Duane, anything I missed?
Just very simple. Just to clarify, what the judge has to do is put an X on the box. You don't need a green.
No,
color.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All you have to do when you put 10-9 or 9-10, you go and put an X or I think X should be the.
X is good.
Yeah.
And then also, if you have a deduction, it's right below that, and you would put your deduction on either the left or the right according to who caused the foul.
I want to clarify that. If the referee takes a point, you just put it at the bottom.
Yes.
Don't worry about it. The master scorer is going to take care of that. But there is one thing, David. I was just a little distracted looking at my notes. If there is a knockdown, forget about your score, close, moderate, decisive. Click, check the box that said knockdown.
Absolutely. If you get a knockdown round, you'll just put an X on the knockdown box and disregard close, moderate, decisive, and extreme. You do not even need to mark those. Just mark the knockdown box.
Okay. Next slide. So why is this close, moderate, decisive? Go ahead, Gilbert. You can put the whole slide in. Why is it important? Well, it helps you as an official to be able to articulate what you're seeing or what you saw. Also, it holds the official accountable. If David, myself, and Chris were scoring a fight, and Chris and I had it 10-9 close, and David had it 10-9 decisive, somebody has to explain that of the three judges here. And it holds the judges more accountable. So they take more responsibility and paying better attention on this. It helps for better training of officials. If we see judges that they're not catching on to the close, moderate, decisive, then I have the opportunity of giving them a phone call and talking them through it and try to help them better. It improves the individual judge. And above all, it gives you confidence. Now, where are we going with this? Well, in the Grand Prix in Saudi Arabia, they put a weight on close, moderate, and decisive. And what I mean by weight, let's say a fighter won 10-9 close. Then that close would be given 0.25, but it's weighted. And if the next round the fighter wins moderate, he's going to get 0.50. So I don't expect you to understand everything I'm talking about right now, but it is weighted. So as we move this along the road in boxing, you're going to see better fights. Why? Because if a fighter can beat his opponent into the moderate or the decisive, that moderate or decisive is going to give him more points. And that's where we're going with this at the right time. This system worked immaculately in Saudi Arabia. It helped where there were draws. They would go to the weighted and see who had the most points on the close, moderate, decisive, and that helped determine the winner of the round. So we're on to a gold mine here, fellas and ladies, that this is why it's so important, because we're going to go down the road and this will be a scoring system that there will be less criticism of the officials. There will be less criticism of boxing, and it's going to make better fights, better performances, and the crowd will be happier. Let's go to the next slide. Any questions to this point?
Duane,
I have one, if you don't mind.
go ahead, Tom.
Yeah.
Can the panelists maybe give their opinion on, I know we want to take our time and progress through these rounds slow and let the rounds develop. Can you talk about when, say, in the first 30 seconds of a fight, one fighter is taking, I'm talking a lot, and it might be rare, but a lot of devastating punches, a lot of devastating hooks, both to the body and to the head. Can you talk about, in some instances, I'm assuming, I might not be right, that you can progress quicker depending on those devastating punches? Because I think in Thailand at the seminar, we didn't get into it very much, but I was left, I still had some questions when I left the seminar. I mean, I could give you my opinion, but I'd like to hear yours first as far as if you can progress quicker depending on the devastation of certain punches. And obviously, if the other fighter comes back, like David mentioned, you can go in reverse, which you should. But I just like to, you got your average fights, and then you have some punches that are just absolutely devastating. And I mean, talk about how quick you might progress.
The thing that I caution is hypothetical questions are difficult to answer because in reality, those circumstances will change. But I have found, and through my experience in teaching other judges, it's easier for them to think in terms of close. In other words, I used to think as the fighters would throw punches and they'd land, I go 10-9 red, 10-9 in my mind, 10-9 red, 10-9 red. And then the other guy would fire back and I'd go, oh, it's even. And then maybe 10-9 black, 10-9 black. So in my mind, it was moving all the time. I found it's much easier to think in terms of it's close. The round is close. Red is winning close. It's close. Oop. Black trunks landed a couple of punches. It's even. Now, oop, black is close. You'll flop back and forth and close. Now, to your point, let's say that right at the start of the round, the fighter came out and was landing some hard, heavy, effective punches. Then you might move out of that close range quickly. and you may move into the moderate quickly. You may even move into the decisive quickly before a minute has gone. But you've got to be fair to both fighters. If you're in the decisive early in the round and the other kid that was really getting hit hard lands some punches, you might have to give him credit for saying, okay, he's in the decisive, but I'm going to move him back a little bit because of those couple of good exchanges. Maybe he's in the low decisive. If he lands more punches, you're going to move him into the moderate. You're going to be able to go. But if he just totally gets annihilated, you're going to have a 10-8 round without a knockdown. And if every time I have had a 10-8 round in my mind, it was just a second later or a couple of seconds later that the kid got knocked down or the referee stopped it. Whenever I've gone to that 10-8, that's usually what happens. So I don't know if that helped you, but the thing is, if you'll think in close, moderate, decisive, he's winning moderate. If David Sutherland said, if I said, David, what do you have the fight right now? And he said, moderate for the red trunks, I would know exactly where he was. You would know because you know what moderate is now.
Yeah, and Tom, I think I know what you're saying, and I think Duane explained it pretty well there. But just the only thing I would say is the effectiveness of the punches can move you quicker in one direction or the other, and that will happen. There are times where a fighter might come out and land some really effective hard shots that will move you through that close rather quickly into the moderate. But like Duane said, as you're talking to yourself in your head and you're saying fighter A is winning close, and then all of a sudden, okay, now he's winning, deeper in the close. So it looks like he just moved into the moderate. Just keep talking to yourself, break up those close, moderate, decisive into little segments, and just move yourself through there. But yes, the really effective scoring punches, they can move you quicker than just a regular punch.
It is what it is. So this next slide, Gilbert.
Wait, may I say something?
Yes, please.
I have found that there are some normal activity in most fights, which is round 1, 2, sometimes 3 are slow action, slow and few action. Those are very difficult to judge. And you can fall very easily as a judge into the perception of just giving it to the A side, round with very few thrown punches, very few landed punches. Let's just give it to the known name, to the champion, etc. That's very easy for a judge to fall in that trap. And then also you have, as Duane has said many times, the last 3-4 rounds where it becomes very difficult. The middle rounds are usually the judge has warmed up and the fighters have warmed up, and you can see the action as it is. And the key is to stick exactly to what the scoring criteria is, which is effective punches, the effective aggression, if you don't land punches, you cannot win a round. If you don't throw punches, you cannot win a round. And there's so many fighters that rely on being cute and looking good and just throwing a few punches while the other fighter is making the fight. And the judge has to give credit to that. And then the control, who control the actions on the round. So for a very experienced judge, it is a little bit easier to understand all these concepts. For those who are in a beginning or mid level on their careers as judges, it takes practice and practice and practice. But there are things that are definite in boxing. Once you know it, I have been sitting in rounds that I know a fighter is winning the round, and then in last 10 seconds, the other one comes and lands one or two big punches, and I know some judges are going to turn because of those two punches. So it is a matter of practice and discussing with your peers. What is right? Was 2 minutes and 50 seconds of domination more than the two hard punches landed at the end? What is fair? So that's a matter of the judges and the committee to provide guidance on specific matters like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mauricio.
Thank you.
Good points. So Gilbert, when you go to the next slide, only hit it once, and then I'll tell you when to hit it again to start it. Now, what we're going to do in this exercise is we're going to watch this round. And I want you to watch at the bottom of the screen where a meter will pop up. Go ahead, Gilbert. You hit it too many times. No, Gilbert, just hit in the middle of the picture. Don't hit the bottom. All right, now the meter will show up at the bottom. It should.
Mhm.
I don't. That's backwards. Something's.
No, it's because
happened.
they shut down the video, Duane. They shut us down if we use it like the opposite.
Mm.
Well, there should be a meter on the bottom.
Mhm.
Can you share one off of your drive, Duane?
¿Puede Dwayne Ford transmitir desde su computadora?
Sí puede, pero no
Problema.
quiso.
Tiene permiso ya.
Tiene permiso.
You can show the video from your computer. The thing we risk when we show boxing in the real image, sometimes they shut down the transmission because of TV of rights.
The videos I have permission.
I know, but Google or YouTube, they don't know you have permission.
Oh,
But
well,
can you show it? Can you show it from your let's try it.
no. Let me see. Let me try something.
No, but without the meter, this video means nothing.
No, I know.
But try, Gilbert, ¿lo puedes poner como viene, como te lo mandó Dwayne? No al revés, sino como viene.
Lo que
Ya
pasa-
si tumban el YouTube, ni modo.
No, lo que pasa es que marcó error la presentación. El video no lo puedo reproducir de este lado.
Okay, can you see anything? Give me a share, Gilbert.
You already have permission to share.
Do I have to click it here?
Yeah, click it down there on the bottom. There you go.
No,
We can see your screen now.
you can see my screen.
Yes.
I'm trying to get you over to the other screen.
Might just drag it over.
I'm working with a Apple.
While Dwayne's doing that, I want to jump in here for a second. You know, there's lots of times when we talk about after fights, we have post meetings and we'll say, you know, what did you see in that round? And, you know, this is where close, moderate, decisive really helps because we'll talk amongst ourselves and even with, you know, the executive directors and we'll say, you know, well, I thought the red corner was winning moderately, but I thought he was deep in the moderate, and then the other judges will come back and they'll give their explanation where they were at, and it really just helps us talk more professionally about where we're at in that round versus just, oh yeah, we all had 10-9 for the red corner. Well, you don't know how much the red corner won that round by, but when we talk about the close, moderate, decisive, it really helps, and it helps each judge know what his peers are seeing too, and how fast they're moving. And then there's times where one guy might be close or deep in the close, and the other ones have already just moved into the moderate. So, it just really helps to explain the rounds better.
I'm sorry, I can't. The problem is I'm working off my Apple, and then my other two screens are hooked up to Microsoft.
Do you need to shut down your sharing the screen so we don't see your back?
Come on.
There you go.
There we go. I don't know why that won't come. My switch is not working. I'm sorry. Perhaps next time we can do some metering so you can see what we've done is we have videoed a lot of these fights and had a panel come up with close, moderate, decisive. The main thing when you are scoring a fight, there's always that feeling of somebody's got to be winning. And it was Mauricio that just said that the first 3 rounds, or maybe the first 4, the fighters aren't doing much. And there's that panic in the judge, ooh, somebody's got to be doing something. So one of the judges does something and you think he's winning. Just relax and don't be panicked on that. If you don't see anything at the end of the round, you have the right to call it even. But if you just stay calm, then something will pop up and you will be able to see it. Now, there's some fights, particularly in those early rounds, that David Sutherland will have it 10-9 for the blue corner, and Duane Ford would have it 10-9 for the red corner. So you could say to David, where were you in your close? David had it 10-9 close for the blue corner. Duane had it 10-9 close for the red corner. David, where were you in the close? And he'd say, oh, I was right, just barely into it. And Duane would say, hey, I was just barely into it. That can happen in many of those rounds, that somebody has the other fighter compared to the other two. But the question is, where were you in the close, moderate, decisive? If you just stepped into the close, then that's understandable. But if you're in the decisive, that's questionable. But I apologize that I couldn't bring up my metered rounds to share.
I think Frank's got a question.
Yes.
Duane, there's a lot of, or I won't say a lot, but there's several commissions and jurisdictions that don't approve of the WBC scorecards. So as a supervisor, you think it'd be a good idea just to go ahead and give the judges the WBC scorecard, and just so that they can mark whether it's close, decisive, or excessive decisive, and then pick them up at the end of the bout, so that we have them on our record?
Well, I don't think that that might confuse and irritate the commission. If they will not allow us to use our cards, then I think you ought to ask the commission that if they would allow the official to put a C or an M or a D or an ED on their cards. And a lot of commissions are doing that now to let you do it.
Okay, thank you.
One of our goals for this year is to get as many boxing commissions to use the scorecard with a CMDE, with the format. I believe California has already used that. Stephen, Colorado? Colorado. So we're looking for other countries. And the problem is when you get there and they do not allow your scorecard to be used. And also the problem is when the boxing commission is the one that appoints the officials. Many officials have not gone through this training, through this process. They don't even know what a scorecard, what that CMDE means. So that's a problem because scoring is a language. We're speaking English right now. What if I was speaking German and you don't speak German and the other one speaks Canadian? That's the same as scoring. Some people simply score the way they think it's correct or the way they're trained, and it's a different language. That's why the bad scores come about, most of them.
Great point, Mauricio. Great point. But I think that we want to be ambassadors when we go into these states that won't let us do certain WBC. And we'll be polite and not force ourselves, but I would personally would ask him, hey, could we use close, moderate, decisive? But I think this is going to go like wildfire. Once we put the weight on the close, moderate, and decisive, that's going to eliminate a lot of bad decisions. Decisions like one judge having a score of 99 to the others have the fight even. This is going to hold officials accountable. It's going to please the fans, and it's going to make boxing look a lot better. But I want to thank you for hanging with us and learning more, a close, moderate, decisive. And this is a language that we can speak. And no matter what language, what Mauricio said, I just love what he said. No matter what language, we all know what close is now. And it's going to go better. And you're going to see more training on this with the weighted information. But next time we have a class, I'll make sure that the fights that we can see has the meter on the bottom. And the meter moves very slowly, but what happens, it moves back and forth. When this guy's winning, it's close or moderate, and then when this guy's winning. And it teaches us not to move quickly because the meter moves slow.
I want to thank Duane, David, Chris you ring officials are part of a committee. They do work day after day after day. And we have a great leader. I want to thank Xochitl for the WBC University and Gilbert and Christian, Gabi for all the hard work. And we're going to have a meeting next week in Mexico City to kick off the year. And we want you to know that officiating is and will always be a top priority for the WBC and everyone in the leadership of the WBC and the federations. And you are the ones that go out and represent the WBC every time you perform. So we are counting on your dedication, on your professionalism, honorability, loyalty, and we are here for you at all times. This has been a great beginning to the talks, which began back in the pandemic. Now it's a reality. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Wish you a great, great 2026, both in your personal and your boxing life. God bless.
Thank you
everyone.
all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
All right. Goodbye. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mauricio.
See you later. Happy New Year.
Thanks, everybody.
Bien.
Bueno.